big those valve springs are. Worst case Ontario, put these heads on your 6-liter. Money sitting there.
I wish I had your S14 here to show you the difference.
Well, my S14 head size-wise would be similar to those ones. I can go grab one.
Said they're O-rings. They don't have a metal gasket.
The last thing I want to do is mock up is scratch these heads.
There's just nothing that's remotely the same.
No. Look at your valve size difference too, right? So you got a titanium intake valve, you got a coated HD exhaust valve.
They're huge valves.
They're like literally paper fitment. This isn't like, this is Frankenstein's own casting. This isn't like an OEM anything.
Yeah.
It's all their own.
And then the top.
Yeah, this is the funny part. The diameter of the valve. I mean the valve spring.
Oh, the port size is just like... So the blocks are identical.
Yeah.
No difference.
Yeah. The deck height is the same. I didn't do anything funky there.
There you go.
Right, thank you. Like aesthetically, the front of the block is going to look different, but all the bolt holes are the same, right?
Maybe some bolts.
We're just inspecting because this is like an OEM block. The dart block outer dimensions is identical. So right now we're just going to do a mock-up, throw some bolts in there because the last thing we want is these heads to fall off, and then grab the exhaust and see if she mocks up. I sent Josiah a CAD drawing of how it was. A little bit of delays, he made do. What'd you do? You ended up putting a spacer underneath the heads?
The height difference was only 117 thou. The biggest difference was the shift in the flange, which was 200. So we milled a slot in only 2 of the holes on the flange, and then shifted using only 2 bolts.
And then once we get the headers on, we'll take a look at where the valve covers, because Frankenstein uses their own special valve covers too.
From there, yeah. Okay, so on the Corvette, I put in the front and rear subframes. They're looking great, all gold. And right now I'm just putting in the winner's quick change mounts. And what Josiah wanted was all the bolt heads to be the same size. So it sounds redundant, but believe me, it gets out of hand quick. So on the S14, we got mismatched like 3/8, half-inch bolts, all this and that. So on the back of the car, most of the heads of the bolts are gonna be 19 mils and 17 mils, just to make it simple, easy when we want to service the car in the future. So yeah, it's looking great. Put it up on the air jacks right now.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna move the hoist arms away, and then we're gonna let it down all the way on the ground. So we got the air jacks on the car. I plumbed them up. They came with this great little line. It's plastic and it's like a quick disconnect. So you just push the button, and when you want to put it on, you just slide it on, and it's good.
We don't have a compressor in the car. It's basically just these lines, and then we'll have a compressor in the pit that we hook that up to, and it just fires right up. So we're gonna give it a little test. We've done it a couple times, but I think we're gonna try and take the hoist arms out so it looks way cooler and jack it up. Do you know how high it goes?
It goes like 10 inches off the ground. You get
But also, Josiah was saying you can get elephant's feet.
What's that, guy?
You get them separately, and then you can raise the car an additional 10 inches. I think it's 12 inches actually, because Bossman said it can go 2 feet in the air with the elephant's feet. What's that, Kyle?
This is the jack stand. Once the shaft is out, you just cluck it up with that.
Pluck it out?
That's
What is
chicken.
it?
I don't know. Chicken is like cluck. I don't know why I call it that.
Okay.
We let the air out and it went down, but what's everybody doing?
We're making a cool section of the video with the air jacks, and it's off the hoist
Well, don't leave me out of it.
Okay, now you're in it.
Give me that.
Air jacks.
You guys didn't talk about
anything.
anything?
Yeah, we did, but
Man, I suck, man. On camera.
Axles. Where are axles?
We're here with the car currently 12 inches off the ground on the new Performance Air Jacks.
That was better.
Was it okay?
Better than what I could do.
What did you... Whoa. That's kind of dramatic, eh? Let's go over the data of these air shocks. They can lift, I think, around 3,000 pounds on just 80 PSI. The reason they can lift so much with such low pressure is because of the surface area of the diameter that these air jacks are made from. You can see they're pretty large. They got a lot of girth to them. I mean, they're just large. This locks out the air jacks so that you can safely use them for the purpose that they're created, which is lifting up the car quickly so you can work on it. So these slide on nicely, and then the idea is you can air down, and this will act as a hard stop.
what's an elephant foot?
An elephant foot is a tower that you can build on so that you can use these jacks to step up, like a staircase, multiple levels. So the elephant feet give you 2 levels, lifting your car 2 feet off the ground. Basically, the air jack, you put the elephant foot under. Let's just say this is the elephant foot, which it's not, but you'd lift it up, put this in, air out, the cylinder will retract, you slide a shim in, and then you lift it up again, and it'll go up a second step. And the elephant feet kind of build a tower so that you can use these to lift the car up a whole bunch. New Performance sells these as a kit, and the price is actually amazing. It's around $2,000 for all 4, which comes with 4 of these as well. And it comes with all of the lines that you need to route. It also comes with this valve, which we're gonna mount somewhere near the gas cap. Basically, you're gonna flip the lid open, you can air up, or you can put gas in it. More than likely, we'll be doing both at the same time, as well as a tire change. So this was a must. They also weigh 4.4 pounds each. And when you mount them, they're gonna be mounted low, and depending on where you put it in the chassis, it's going to be central to the chassis, roughly. The actual weight placement of the air jacks isn't really going to hinder your car's performance, and total, it's only going to add 4.4 pounds per corner. So realistically, this car for us is already going to be underweight anyways, so this is not a bad thing to be adding to our system. So I'm just going to air it out. So the air jacks have a tension spring inside of the cylinder. That's basically what's retracting them. It does not require any air pressure to retract the cylinders back into their place. And the springs are strong enough that they're going to hold that in place. It's quite hard to pull it out yourself. That's pretty much it for those though. There's lots of other cool things that I could show you, but I'm busy working. Maybe Kyle will show you.
stiff. Like and the green and gold.
What's up, man? What are you filming?
Putting the suspension on.
You didn't have any M12s big enough.
Yikes.
They fit through the subframe fine?
Yeah, I didn't have to
You
drill.
just had to build a spacer out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's reversible. It's a nice design. Okay, so we're installing the newly powder-coated suspension components. And again, there's just a lot of really cool features going on with these. One of the best ones being I'll be able to take these arms off ridiculously fast. By leaving the heim joints in the subframe, it gets rid of all of the pain in getting misalignment spacers up in the subframe. I can simply take the arm, slap it onto the two heim joints like this, and then even if they are misaligned, the more you thread on these adjuster nuts, they just self-align themselves. So it's a really cool feature. So that's one of the coolest things, but it isn't the only cool thing. That's the key. That's another cool thing. You got M10 bolt. I think about 70 mil is what we want. In conjunction with being really easy to take off, you can also make on-car adjustments. By simply, I want to increase caster, I basically extend the rear portion of the arm, bring the jam nut up, and I have increased caster, and now I can reduce it by going in. All of that can be done without undoing anything. Perfect. Kyle, you want to slam that in there? We're going to start on position 2. I will pretty much only be cycling between 1, 2, and 3, and then these back holes are going to be used for sway bar stiffness, softening and stiffening. I've also made the sway bar with the spline, so we'll be able to tension the left versus the right differently, and then it'll also have an adjustable linkage. A lot of cool stuff. We're going to throw the uppers on. We did weld in the threads to the chassis. We actually grabbed that point from, I think I saw a short video or something of Matt Field saying to weld those in, so I was like, yeah, thanks for the pointer on that. He knows the Corvette chassis very well, so I'm gonna take his word for that. He said that you could punch the threads out. If you ever got in a crash, it would just blast those right out, and then you'd lose the nut in behind this little pocket. Dilly machined up these spacer adapters to allow us to run our coilover more vertical so that we can change the motion ratio to get more travel. You might also know that I'm running fairly heavy springs in the front. These are 18K. Normally with a sway bar, I would be running around 12 or 14, but because of the leverage that we now have created here, this is gonna have to be increased to have the same wheel rate. All of that being said, the sway bar is a drop bar, so it lowers the mounting point. The original one was here. We lowered it about 2.5 inches. And this just gives me a better trajectory to clear the subframe while having a blade that is all within the frame rail, because our angle limiting factor is the tire hitting the frame here. So keeping the blade within the frame rail, and the wheel's gonna hit approximately here. As long as the blade is not the interference point, I'm happy. So we're gonna weld this in place where we see fit, and then your blade is gonna end up looking something like that. And then that's gonna go on. Yeah, and I'll orient these so that they're easy to get at. And yeah, that's the deal. That's what's cool so far. I'm gonna go back to work. Kyle's gonna finish it.